Woohoo! Welcome back to Big Herb the Nerd and Football Manager 2019. It is here. I was lucky enough to be invited down to Sports Interactive's headquarters to catch up some alpha version footage pre the beta release to be able to share with you lovely people before it comes out, to give you a feel for what's going on in the game. And I have to say, it is spectacular. You will see, it is very purple. And that is a good thing. It's very, very good. So I played with Bayern Munich. I captured quite a bit. So we're going to this will be a little first look video. We'll go and have a look at the first few days, the scouting, a bit of training, a bit of tactics. And then there'll be some team reviews to come later in the week and a few more just in-depth videos around each of those areas as well. Just my thoughts on or first opinions on things like tactics, things like training, because they look very, very good. Training, especially, you're going to have a lot of fun with that, I know. So what you're seeing now is the captured footage running in the background, and I will talk you through what I've seen. And I have to say, the game is very, very good. I enjoyed it a lot. So as you'll see, the first few days in the chairman it's pretty much the same you go through. But you will notice that your team colours are integrated into the menus a little more. You have the sidebar lit up with the red. You've got the red going around the outside as well. A nice little feature is out on the left hand side. Your menu is now changeable. You can drag and drop and move those categories around depending on what you like to look. It means you can, organize it in a way that makes it easier for you to access. I did that a few times and got confused, so I had to put it back. But little touches like this make the game a much easier play experience. Last year, FM19 added quite a lot of clicks to the game. What they've done this time is made a lot of small little changes that just make the gameplay that little bit easier, because there's some bigger changes later on that will add a little bit more depth. So one of the big things they have introduced this year, and I've been talking about, is the introduction schedules, the tutorial now. So as you see, as you start the game, you get scouting, transfers, training, and these all pop up. It's very helpful, like guides to run through. We may bring some videos on them later, just as around release time. But yes, they walk you through each section, tell you what the buttons do. For new players, will be very, very helpful. If you are experienced in the game, you've been playing it a few years as I have, I went through them all. They are quite good, but not necessarily required if you know what you're doing in the game. You may want to you will want to go through the training one just to make sure you understand, because that can be a little bit daunting when you jump into it. There's a lot there, but yes, they have finally put in some type of tutorial for the game, and they've made some steps in some of the more difficult areas to make it easier for new players. So definitely have a look at these. So, you know me, you've seen my tactic videos by now. You know I like to start with a team report, and not much has changed in here. The strengths and weaknesses there, they've expanded out some of these now, so you get a lot more in the strengths and weaknesses column. I've seen for a lot of teams that I looked at, just jumped in to see what the sort of scaling was. There, you get a lot more around these strengths and weaknesses sections, which will help you take into that tactic build to give you an idea of how you want to play. See, they have new tactic presets, which I will show you very shortly, and this will help you kind of align to those. You're looking at your passing style, your crossing, your abilities. Also then, the weaknesses. Where are you weak? Where should you be looking at the transfer market? And what should you not be trying to do with the team that you have selected to play in Football Manager? So let's now get in and have a look at the tactics. As I said, they have some presets which you can choose from now to make it a little bit easier to pick the style of play that you would like to. And these are them there. That was nicely timed by me, overwriting my own voice there. So I'll pause the video here. As you can see, let me move out of the way. This way. We have control possession, gegenpress, tiki-taka, the vertical tiki-taka, wing play, route 1, fluid counter, direct counter attack, catenaccio, park the bus, and create your own style, which I am in the way of. And as you see, as you click into each one, it gives you this idea here of what does it mean. Control possession is a tactic that focuses on whatever it does. I'm not going to read them all out. You have mentality. Positive is the new control, so it tells you how that tactic is being set up. And then this is the big bit, the in possession, in transition, and out of possession team instructions, essentially breaking out team instructions into those three sections to say, what do you do when you have the ball? What do you do when you've just lost the ball? And what do you do when you don't have the ball? And it sounds a little bit daunting to start with, but actually it's not that difficult. It's quite good. It gives you a lot of flexibility to add in those little to really get under the skin. A lot of stuff you would be using player instructions for, you now can do within team instructions to make sure that you get your defense doing what your defense do and your attackers do what you want them to do. But starting here and tweaking is a very good way of going forward. So taking your team report, rolling it into one of these, and then making those small tweaks you wanted. So with Bayern Munich, I went for wing play, which was just then to play further out wide, to use the wings, to put those crosses in and see if wingers were a little bit OP this year as they were last year. And yeah, I jumped into it, made a few tweaks and got it working just the way I wanted. And it was a nice way of starting. It gives you a basis to work from. And obviously these are presets in the game for a reason. You think they should work. Very interested also in this vertical tiki-taka, a more pressing tiki-taka style. They always looking to move the ball forward. A lot of guys saying it's the Bielsa kind of style of, yes, they're passing, but you're passing with intent. That'd be a nice one to try out in FM19, I think, as well. But then this is the one I chose, the wing play, like I say, looking to get the ball out wide, play very wide, and then get the ball inside, have one of your players score. It's kind of the way we played a lot of FM18. And looking at the players I had, I've still got Robin and Ribéry. I thought, come on, let's get this working, shall we? So once you have selected your style of play, you will then move on to the formation. And normally, you know, it'd give you the flat 4-4-2. What it actually does, give you some selections. So saying with a wing play formation, actually, we suggest you play these. Again, helping that new player get in to the game. It also, which is very interesting, selects your roles for you, which is very, very helpful because you never know with the roles what you're going to get. You hope, you know, that I hope I know what I'm doing now, but having them drop in there straight away and say, okay, I've got wingers on attack and wing backs. The attack and support is set up to be flipped. I've got an anchor man. I might not like the anchor man, might want to change him, but it gives you, again, that basis to work for, which is really, really helpful for those new players. And I want you confirmed into the standard screen that you see per normal. Pick your players. It's all on the left-hand side instead of the right, very different. But like I say, you go through, pick your mentality. You can change that if you want. As I say, positive is the one that changes, is control now. And then you can go through and select your team instructions based on your possession, in transition, and out of possession. So, in possession, a lot of this will look very familiar to you. So you've got in here your attacking width, how wide you want to play when you're going. I obviously want to play very wide from the tactic I was playing, but obviously this is already set. You're passing to space in your attacking options there. You're passing directness on sliders. A lot of people rejoicing because sliders are back. But very helpful because you can tweak it just up just a little bit here and there, depending on what you're seeing in the game. And obviously you have your final third as well as your approach play. If we look at the in-transition tactics, you look at when the possession has been lost, when a possession has been won. So what happens straight away? As soon as you get either the ball has been lost, one person has lost the ball, or you have just won the ball back, what happens? So you can choose here, counter press or regroup, essentially go after them straight away, or drop back and get into shape. Possession has been won, counter, everybody goes forward, or hold shape. Well, let's not be over enthusiastic. Goalkeeper in possession, again, your goalkeepers is all on, instead of being in the goalkeeper play instructions now, it's out in the tactic screen, which is, it's the same option, it's just more visible, easier to see how you're going to be transitioning the goalkeeper into play, or the ball from the goalkeeper into play. And then you're out of possession, looking at your defensive shape. And this is a very interesting one. You've got your lines of play here. So on a gegenpress, your line of engagement, your attacker's line is going to be much higher, and your defensive line much higher also. You can tweak these now to say, actually, this is where I want my defense to play. Also defensive width. Do I want my defense compact, or do I want them wider? And that will obviously depend on how many defenders as well you've got in there, the style of play you've gone for. Using the offside trap is there, very standard. And then you've got your pressing intensity, so your marking as it was before, and your tackling. So you can split out your tactic into those areas. You can see exactly what the different players will be doing. All of this was available before, but it's just now easier to navigate. Okay, so now let's take a look at training. The big change. Look at it. It's a colourful, beautiful beast. So big up on this one is the training performances. You can see how well your players are training. You can see who is playing well. They're ranked out, so you can praise the players based on that rating. You can help improve that rating. You can tweak your training based on it. Also, you know, give the little disciplines to the guys that aren't doing so well. It just adds that extra level of player interaction in there that you can go for. So if we have a look here, this is the calendar for training now. And it looks a lot, right? It looks a lot when you're staring at it. I looked at this first and had to re-record the game capture because I was all over the shop. I didn't know what I was doing. But essentially it's split into here. So you've got your month, you've got your weeks in the month, and at the top here you have your schedule. So your schedule is something that you can set yourself or something that you can use as a standard template from the game. But essentially says, what am I doing this week? So there's a load of presets in there, or you can set your own ones up. And it essentially says for each of the days, you've got 3 sessions. What are they going to be? You can set these up yourself, as I was saying, plan them based on the units you have, based on what you want to attack, based on what you want to train, how many games you have. But you can essentially just flick these week by week to pick exactly what you want. And as you can see here, very colourful. But you can, depend if you've got 2 games a week, you can drop off sessions. This is obviously working on physical training, on fitness, because it's pre-season. But there are lots and lots of options here. There'll be many, many ways to attack this beast. Setting up schedules based on if you've got one, well, I think if you're going for fitness, if you're going for sort of more defensive training, more attacking training, base it on your opponents. So if we're going up against a team we expect to lose against, how do we do a bit more match preview? How do we put in a bit more time in a defensive position? If we're going against a team we're going to beat, how do we train on attacking? If we're on a poor run, do we put in some more work around converting chances or finishing chances? Having a look at your stats from games. Are we converting crosses? Are we not converting crosses? Are we just not creating chances? Are we leaking goals? All of that you can then tweak into schedules, which you then put out to your team and then can monitor the performance of that team. There are a lot of options for these individual boxes here. On what you can be doing, and there's a nice bit here where you can get some community outreach or some team bonding done. So send them out into local community to go and work in hospitals, with charities, whatever it is, but it all helps that team cohesion as well. So you can set up these individual schedules based on a variety of factors, and it'd be very interesting to see how you guys and how us as content creators really get into this training and use it to its potential. So as you can see here, here's a selection of the presets we've got in here. And if you look just for pre-season, there are more than fit on the screen. And it tells you about each of the things. Does it improve sharpness, cohesion, happiness, condition? Just because each one of them will have an impact on the team, and it's about balancing to make sure you're not overtraining one thing or undertraining one thing, that you're getting a balanced schedule to get what you want out of it. You can also train tactical styles. So if you are just coming in, okay, I want to play Gegenpress, well, you can just train Gegenpress. It will give you schedules for that to enable you to jump in. And like I say, this is very much like the tactics. You will want to start with some of these presets and then start tweaking. I went in to try and do it myself in the beginning. It blew my mind. Take your time, use the presets there and tweak as you get used to how that system is going to work. But it looks in depth. There will be full videos on setting up training. I can guarantee you that a lot of the guys were very, very excited about this. We had the developer come in to tell us about it, the guy that designed the training for Sports Interactive, and the detail is there. It is pretty damn good. And once you are used to it, like I say, you can come in and set up your own schedules. You can pick a preset, and this is how you then pick it. It gives you a week. It gives you your piece up here around injury risk, condition, your happiness, team cohesion, and then per your units, so the way you split your team into a goalkeeper, defensive or attacking units, you decide who sits in what. Each of them have an intensity level for that day's training. So you may want to train defenders heavily for a couple of days, maybe then rest them, give the attackers some training. So for each training schedule, for each one of these, defend and disengage, say, you will have, it will give you for each of the sections how intense that training session is for that unit. And then another thing for you to balance. Again, sounds confusing, but you can see here, there are presets that are very balanced. You can just pick up and run with. Obviously, you have this extra session. You don't want to use it every time because it's going to knacker the guys out. But there's a lot you can do in here to pick and tweak that training schedule to deliver exactly what it is you're looking for from your team. So this is an idea of one of the sections. Again, you can see the level of detail in here. As I was saying, for defend and engage, you can see the primary focus of this training category is your defensive unit. So it is 60% of that day of that training session is for defenders, and it will impact their attributes, their tactical familiarity, their injury risk, their condition, their happiness, and their team cohesion. So you can balance exactly what is this doing in defend and engage. It tells you what it's doing, tells you the attributes it's going to impact, so you can be specific about those attributes you want to improve in your team. And then you can see here secondary and tertiary focus. Okay, the attacking and goalkeepers, yep, it will actually impact their attributing. So a engaged defending training will actually improve your striker's finishing, but at a priority of 20%, so a much lower priority than if you were to train shooting practice. But as you can see, you can manage it all in here. You can see again, there's lots of options here and a lot of options across the top. So there will be so many varieties of training. It will be crazy. Here we have the units, as I was talking about before, those 3 areas: goalkeeping, defensive, and attacking. So you can move these people around. If you're training someone who is a attacking midfielder or an AMC back into a defensive more position, or a central midfielder into a DM, you can drop him from an attacking unit into the defensive unit. These are completely customizable for yourself. You can drag whoever you want into whichever unit. You can add or remove your reserve and youth team players as well, so when they start training with the first team, to get them used to being part of the first team. So there's a lot you can do with the units as well, but that mainly impacts obviously that training schedule. So if you have someone you're retraining, they don't, just because they are striker now, have to be a striker. So that will help with transitioning them into new roles and responsibilities. And I couldn't do a first look video without looking at the match itself, could I? The match engine hasn't had a lot of tweaks. It's had some new animations. You've seen them in there. There's a beautiful thing they've added, which is the curve on the ball, which you will now see in game more. And I didn't think it was a big thing, but some of the goals you see are absolutely spectacular. The bends on some of the balls, on the free kicks, on some of the crossfield passes, especially on a wing play tactic where you're looking to pick it up and put it out to the wing. Oh, it's spectacular. The split screen is very good if you're playing on 2D or on 3D, but it crimps down and enables you to pull more of these sort of information bars onto the pitch screen, as it were. And one nice little addition they have made is to, let me pause here, they've coloured the ratings. Again, very small, but seeing your best players coloured at a higher rate of green is always nice to see. You can see who your star players are and who aren't, just at a quick look. Oh, as we score a beautiful free kick there from James Rodriguez. And hopefully this will show you a little bit of that curve of the ball I was talking about, which is, it's a little thing, but when it works, look at that. Oh, the spin. It is very, very nice. Very, very slick indeed. So we will leave that there for this first look video. I hope you have enjoyed. If you have, please do smash that like button. And we will be dropping further videos around that training and the tactics screens in a little bit more detail, as I just walk you through my first impressions of how I think it should be set up, or what you should be doing when you jump into your first game of Football Manager. And then we will follow that on with a couple of team reviews. So the Bundesliga is the league license that we've got this year, so having a look at some of the top teams in the Bundesliga and have a look at their players. Should you be taking them on as your first save or not? So they will be coming later in the week as we warm ourselves up for our beta save with West Ham United. That will be dropping hopefully as soon as the beta drops. So thank you very much for watching. Subscribe if you are new, and I will see you back for some more FM19 action. Have a great evening. Bye bye.
Before he steps on stream,
wow.
We're going to introduce you next to Big Herb the Nerd. Herb,
can I just say, what an outfit.
But we're fantastic.
Not well.
He's arrived. No. Given we're managing in
He's gone for the
can
full regalia.
Can you take a step back over here so everyone can see? I wasn't aware he was doing this. If you stand.
He's even got the socks.
He's gone full lederhosen.
Wow.
It's good.